David Sinclair, who is Professor of Genetics at Harvard Medical School, says this. After 25 years of researching ageing and having read thousands of scientific papers, if there's one piece of advice that I can offer, one surefire way to stay healthy longer, one thing that you can do to maximise your lifespan right now is, and I'll tell you in a second. Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women who are getting happy, living longer and growing younger, and we're all about positive ageing. And yes, that's what we're talking about today, because this one surefire thing that you can do to stay healthy longer, and one thing you can do to maximise your lifespan right now, is to eat less. It's simple, and the benefits it brings are enormous. They are enormous. The research that's been done on fasting and intermittent fasting is incredible. It's just incredible. Now, during the scope of the work that I do for YouTube, I can't do an awful lot of research, but I do know it's difficult because, for example, if you start looking on YouTube for these things, you see lots of different people saying lots of different things. Sometimes they're very opposite things, and it can be very confusing. So I do like to look at academic papers, and I think it is important to look at who's talking. And even when you look at the papers that are produced, you need to see who's funded that research, just in case there may be any bias. So it isn't as simple as it, as you know, as just looking on YouTube or, heaven forbid, Wikipedia. I only say that because you don't know who's putting things forward on Wikipedia. Anyway, so I like to do my own research, and I've started intermittent fasting. Now, I started to do this probably about, must be over 3 years ago now, probably just over 3 years ago actually, and I started intermittent fasting then. The research has come on leaps and bounds since then, but I was, I was keen enough to start it then. But then, of course, Charlotte became ill, and then she moved in with us, and we took care of her at home. For those of you who don't know, Charlotte is my daughter, who passed away about 3 years ago. And so at that time, my diet was thrown into a tiswas, as it were, and I wasn't consistent with the fasting. Now, however, I have the opportunity. There is only Mr. Kitchen and I who live here, and we both worked out, because Mr. Kitchen's very keen too, we've worked out a fasting method that's different to each other, that's comfortable. One that I'm comfortable with, I'm using, and the one he is, and they're different. But I'll tell you about that in a second. I just want to tell you about some of the benefits that I've read about, that I thought, I want to tell you about these, because they may sway you to either to continue intermittent fasting, or fasting if you're doing that already, or to give it a try if you're not. So let's just have a look then. Let me just tell you though, so all it is just eating less. So intermittent fasting is just eating intermittently. It's just not eating 3 meals a day, or even worse, that we were advised not long ago, every few hours to have a snack. We know differently now, and so intermittent fasting is just eating intermittently, and I'll talk about methods in a second. You want to stick to the end here, because it's just amazing. This subject is amazing. So let's have a look at some of the benefits then. Well, first of all, it supports digestion. If you think about it, when you're digesting food, an awful lot of your bodily organs and systems are involved, and energy needs to go to these systems and organs in order to help digestion. You know, you only have to think about if you have a Sunday lunch, which I've been guilty of in the past. I like it so much that you eat it all and then you can't move, or you can't move because you're tired or you need a nap or something, and that's because you've eaten all this food and your digestion now has to help to digest it, and all of the energy goes to your digestive system, which means there's no energy for anything else, and that's why you're tired. So fasting gives your body a break from the digestive system, gives the digestive system a break, and has the opposite effect. So in fact, rather than being sluggish or sleepy, fasting actually enhances mental clarity, because the body is not concentrating on digestion, and also because of the moderate stress fasting causes on the body. The brain actually becomes sharper and more focused. Now there are papers out there already on how fasting is helping with cognitive decline and symptoms of cognitive decline. So interesting. That's something to look at specifically if that's something you're interested in. So the brain becomes sharper and more focused. Fasting helps to stimulate the growth hormone that actually stimulates new brain cells, part of the same benefit, I guess. It promotes something called autophagy, which is the body's kind of natural cleansing, healing process, and it also assists in the reparation of damaged cells. Fasting reduces inflammation by putting pro-inflammation cells called monocytes into sleep mode, and it reduces blood pressure because of that. It also decreases oxidative stress. I'll come back to that in a second. Fasting boosts energy, again, because the body's not having to focus on digestion all the time. It strengthens the immune system. Now, research that was done recently at the University of Southern California has shown that fasting can lead to the regeneration of the cells of your immune system. If you're interested in weight loss, then fasting can help with weight loss. It certainly makes it easier. There's no calorie counting, struggling with what to eat and how much to eat and what should I have on my plate and how much of this and how much of that and is that so many calories and all of those things. There's none of that. You don't have to worry about what you're having for lunch because you're not eating lunch. It helps to lose that visceral, stubborn belly fat. I'll come back to that in a sec. Yes, and it causes this moderate stress on the body. So anything that does that is actually healthy for the body. Moderate levels of stress improves the immune system, increases performance and cognitive function. Because the body thinks it's under mild stress, and so it's on alert, it's more alert. It helps with heart health and heart disease for all of the reasons that we've mentioned. It lowers insulin levels, so it helps with diabetes. The decreased oxidative levels, so oxidative stress involves unstable molecules called free radicals. Now we know about, anybody who's interested in skincare knows about free radicals and why serums that are antioxidants are good for the skin. It's like, when you bite into an apple and leave it in the air and it goes brown. That's what happens in the body, which is what we don't want. That's oxidization, and fasting enhances the body's resistance to that oxidative stress. Studies are also showing that it decreases the risk of cancer, and it can also help with the treatment of cancer. Now, the big things here then, heart disease, cancer, and cognitive function. Those are three main issues that over our age, let's say, are starting to concern us. And this is fasting. It's being shown, do your own research on whichever area you're interested in, is showing that intermittent fasting and fasting helps with those three biggies. It's just incredible and so easy, just so easy, It's just so, I can't tell you how amazing I think it is. So how do you do it then? How do you fast? Well, you will have heard there's lots of different methods. These are the more common ones. There's the 16-8 method, which means that you don't eat for 16 hours and your eating window becomes within 8 hours. So if you have your meal at 7 o'clock at night, then you don't eat again until 11 the next day. That's when your breakfast would be. And then there's the 18-6. Again, let's say your meal's at 7 o'clock at night, then you won't have your first meal the next day until 1 o'clock. And then there's the 5-2 method, where you just do eat normally for 5 days and then do 24-hour fasts for 2 days, not back to back. So if you eat at 7 for dinner one night, then you don't eat again until dinner the next night. So in this household, I started on the 16-8 and eased my way in, and gradually moved to the 18-6. Mr. Kitchen does the 5-2. Now, he's been doing that for quite some time. I have probably been doing the intermittent fasting now for, I'd say, 2 months, and it's now becoming easier. It just takes so much weight off. There's nothing to think about. Your window's closed, you don't eat. It's like that. And it's flexible. So if sometime, I may be invited out to dinner and we don't sit down to eat until 8 or 8:30, then the following day I can push my first meal further back. Now, I find it easier not to eat in the morning. I know lots of people struggle with a little like snacking after their evening meal. Well, I would say push your evening meal back to start with. Say you do eat at 7, maybe don't eat till 7:30 or 8, and then you shouldn't be eating again or need to eat again after that. I wouldn't eat later than 8 o'clock. It's not good to eat too close before you go to bed, but at least it means you won't be snacking, and then push back the following day to the time of when you have your first meal the next day. So that's how I started out. However, according to Mindy Pelz, who is one of the fasting experts, and who believes that fasting will end all chronic disease, she says that women over the age of 50 is the age group who should be fasting for all of the reasons I've talked about, who should be fasting the most. And she suggests varying it up or mixing it up a bit. So she suggests doing maybe 5 days on the 16-8, and then extend your fast for 1 day, so do the 18-6, and then have 1 day off. Now, varying the fast like that ensures that your body doesn't get used to what's happening, and this is also the way to do it in order to get rid of that dangerous visceral belly fat. The very same belly fat that I woke up with overnight. Going through the menopause, or just after the menopause. I've never had a tummy in my life, and it really felt like overnight. Anyway, anything that's going to help me get rid of that stubborn fat, because it isn't healthy, that's the fat that's dangerous, then fasting helps with that. So, getting back to what I was saying about the people you need to be listening to, I would suggest looking at, someone who's been recommended to me, I haven't seen a lot of his work, is Jason Fung, Dr. Jason Fung. So look at his work. Dr. Mindy Pelz, this is her book, Fast Like a Girl. I did appropriate that title, Fasting Like a Woman, because when you're over 50, it is different for us, isn't it? Always, as you're getting older. And so she talks about that in this book. She gives recipes in the book, hacks on all kinds of things. It's a really, it's a good book to look at if you're going to start fasting. If you are going through the menopause, she's also written a book called Menopause Reset. I haven't read this, but if you're going through the menopause, I reckon this would help you greatly. And if you're interested in fasting for longevity, then and growing younger, then David Sinclair talks about fasting. It's one of the major things he talks about, obviously, given the quote I started with at the beginning of the video. So those are 3 people I would have a look at if you are considering fasting. Remember, so this is intermittent fasting. It isn't stop eating. It isn't starving yourself, which I couldn't do anyway, given my love of food. Also a caveat, if you're doing it for losing weight, then I would say watch your food intake in general and eat healthily when you're not doing the intermittent fasting. I know someone who was doing, when she's doing the 5-2, on the days that she's going 24 hours, when she does have dinner, she only has a dinner of 500 calories. And of course, she loses weight. She's lost weight doing that. I couldn't do that. Find your own way. Experiment. Make sure you're getting sufficient nutrition. Let me know if you're fasting already. Tell me your experiences. I'm doing it with you. Like I said in the last video, I'm walking the talk here. And the next video, wait till you hear about the next. You've got to watch the next video. Subscribe, please, so that you don't miss it. You will be notified. Please give this a thumbs up if it's helped you in any way. I do hope I'm convincing you to do your own research and have a look at fasting yourself, because these benefits are just too good to miss at our age, at any age, but especially at our age, and especially if we want to get happy, live longer and grow younger, which of course on the Happy Stuff and Fluff we do. I'd love to know your experiences, or if you're going to start fasting, please comment. It also helps the video, the YouTube one. And incidentally, those of you who share my videos, I couldn't be more grateful, because I need to get these messages, this message about longevity for women over 50. We need to get it out there to those who need to hear it. Okay, I'll see you next time. Can't wait till then. Take care. Bye-bye.